English translation 210th contact. Wednesday, 11th June 1986, 10:17 hours.
Today, I can answer your question about the evangelist Luke, as I have thoroughly informed myself about this using our efforts of science. Luke was actually born in the country of Syria, according to today's calendar on Tuesday, the 4th of September, 64 AD. He passed away in the year 148 AD on Sunday, the 27th of May. His place of death was Greece. Nearly 200 years after his passing away, his corpse was transported to the former Byzantium, where it remained until the end of the 11th century, after which, through another shift to Italy, it then received its final resting place in a crypt in the Basilica of Santa Giustina in Padua.
Thank you for your efforts. Luke was the author of the Gospel which bears the same name, as well as of the Acts of the Apostles, which, to my knowledge, he wrote during the period from AD 97 to 106, namely only according to hearsay and in accordance with his own interpretations, which naturally led to falsifications, etc.
Your words correspond to what our scientists and all historians also explain.
Of course, Svath already spoke in this manner. May I ask you a question about my great journey again, respectively about Mars, which I was also allowed to visit?
Of course you can do that.
While visiting Mars, Ptah explained to me that Mars had larger amounts of water led into its rivers, which are now partially filled in by dust and volcanic ash, than what was ever the case, or what is still the case with the largest rivers on Earth. In addition, he talked about 1,000-fold more water than what is found in the largest rivers on Earth. That seems to be somewhat fantastic to me, which is why I think that I misheard or did not listen properly.
You should not doubt your attention because you properly understood everything that Tar explained to you. The information about the enormous quantities of water, which were led into the Martian rivers, corresponds to the facts, as well as the water courses that are partially filled in by sand, dust, and volcanic ash, which are generally called canals on Earth, but which were truly enormous rivers that were dozens and even almost 100 kilometers in diameter, and that were thousands of kilometers in length.
On Mars, there are always violently raging sandstorms which, as Ptah explained, often cover the entire planet. There, it is no wonder that enormous rivers of water, or even the canals, were partially covered with sand, dust, and volcanic ash. I was also allowed to witness a violent storm, which was actually a tremendous experience for me, even though I could only observe the whole thing in Simya-Sei's beamship and could not go directly into the storm. Although it was not such a huge experience as in the storm zone of the Red Eye on Jupiter. But just regarding this prevented sun, I have another question. You told me that the ring, or the very thin ring system around Jupiter, disappears. Therefore, it can no longer be ascertained. There, I ask myself what you actually meant with that, namely whether you addressed the outer or the inner ring.
I spoke of the outer and extremely fine ring. The inner ring, which is denser, in contrast to the outer one, is narrow and practically extends down to Jupiter's atmosphere in a fine and visible vapor. This ring remains and will also be ascertained in the coming time through the efforts of earthly astronomers and astrophysicists.
Then those who are super clever will still have to vindicate me, whom they insulted as a liar and spinner in 1975 after my great journey, when I explained that I had seen a similar ring on Jupiter as the one on Saturn.
For this vindication, however, you will still have to wait an even longer time.
Also, regarding the Ishvishmata, the God's Eye, respectively the Ring Nebula, which was created by a crazy and wacky Ishwish, King of Wisdom. People have insulted me and have even claimed that I stole a photo from the Swiss Astronomical Society, and that I maintain that it comes from me. people do not want to accept from me that I made the picture in space when I cruised about in that star area. There are also similar structures, namely about 500, in our Milky Way. Also in the constellation Aquarius, such a thing exists, the so-called planetary nebula NGC 7293, which is called the Helix Nebula. Moreover, I am accused of lying and spinning because I said that Neptune also exhibits a ring system, and that Jupiter also has a great spot that is similar to the red spot. But there are many more things, for which I am attacked and insulted, including that which I reported after my great journey, which is that Uranus also has a ring system, and to be sure, a rather remarkable one. Another point of attack is my statement that the clouds of Venus, as a rule, are considerably higher than the clouds of Earth, and that there are volcanoes on Venus that are several hundred kilometers in diameter, which also means that, accordingly, also lava flows that are several hundred kilometers long are to be found, but these are inactive.
Unfortunately, the Earth humans are very much inclined to insult and slander new things, especially when they are not able to understand something and are not able to perceive it.
Then to something else. Ptah made a remark to me that there are not only black holes in space, which pull all matter and all light, etc., into themselves, but that there is also the opposite, that which pushes and hurls away everything that comes within its range by tremendous force. Can you tell me what you call this phenomenon and whether it appears frequently or only sporadically in the vast regions of space?
With what Ptah explained to you and with what you have addressed, it is all correct. It concerns a closed space arch, which is similar to a sphere, and it develops tremendous repulsive forces in itself, which act outwardly from the arch, and which reject and repel everything that lies within its range by unimaginable force. The repulsive force-swinging waves reach out very far into free space, often over billions of kilometers away, whereby their power is reduced. This means that the repulsive force of the space arch becomes correspondingly stronger. The ratio can be estimated with a black hole because the same laws apply to such, but only in reverse form.
So you call the whole thing space arch?
That is of correctness. But now, my friend, it is time that we finish our conversation because you should not be overburdened, for your health is still not the best. Therefore, live well and in peace. I will visit you again at the given time. Goodbye.
Until we meet again, and many thanks for your answers and efforts. Take care.